Brock, you have the floor for 5 minutes, please.
Thank you, Chair. Minister Haidu, I proudly represent the riding of Brantford-Brant. I also represent the First Nations community of Six Nations of the Grand River. And I'm sure the Minister remembers I have written to you on numerous occasions regarding the federal funding needed for the Gaoweni Immersion School on Six Nations of the Grand River Territory. Despite my previous correspondence and numerous follow-ups over the past 3 years, my office has not received any updates regarding the status of this necessary funding. The initial request for funding was literally 8.5 years ago. This delay has led to a significant increase in project costs, creating challenges for the school's operations. Last month at this very committee, I raised the issue, and a member of your ministry indicated that they would follow up. So can you tell us today when we can expect to receive the urgently needed funding?
Well, thank you very much for the question. And I do have a letter here dated March 30th that I sent to you, Mr. Brock, March 30th, 2023. So I assume that you have that in your possession as well. So in terms of not responding, I do want to put it on the record that, in fact, I did. But I will say that Indigenous Services Canada has supported the design brief for the school, and we're continuing to engage with the school across government departments.
When was the last time you engaged?
I believe I was in Six Nations last year, but we can check the exact date.
I'd like to get the exact date.
I will get you the exact date.
Okay.
I visited
you
not
indicated
only Six
you
Nations
corresponded to me in March.
Chief, but Chief
I had the floor. You indicated to me you responded, and I know you dislike that, but this is members' time, not ministers' time.
Mr. Brock, the witness is minister's aware of the rules. This is your time. We've gone over this before.
I don't think she does, Chair, but thank you.
Mr. Brock, you've got 3 minutes.
Thank you. So you responded over almost 1.5 years ago. In that particular letter, I'm sure you spelt out no specific timeline as to when this school is going to get the necessary funding. How long do the children of my community, the children of the Six Nations community, have to suffer with inadequate funding? Why can't you write a check and find the necessary funding, as we've been pressing your ministry for the better part of the entire tenure of your government? What do you say to the people of the Six Nations?
Well, first I say thank you for the visit and for the opportunity to work on the many issues that Six Nations continues to drive forward, including, I think, their incredible economic development success. And I will say that we'll continue to work with them on the successful
Which is a non-answer. Thank you so much. The AG's report underscores the long-standing health hazard posed by mold in First Nation communities. And she concludes that ISC appears to struggle in fully understanding the severity of the issue. I want to illustrate a case again from my riding. The Gagnos Medical Center of the Six Nations of the Grand is the sole medical center with federal employees providing vital dental and sexual health services. Was compelled to close due to mold infestation. They reached out to you personally. You refused to meet with them. This scenario should highlight the urgency of the situation. When will your ministry earnestly address these matters, prioritize funding for this crucial medical center, and provide a meaningful response to the Six Nations community?
Well, thank you for your question, and I assume by the line of your questioning that when Indigenous items come up for voting in allocations of funds and in budgeting, that you will vote in favor, and I'll watch for your vote. Because, in fact, as you know, we have a very significant infrastructure gap, and any appropriation of money from the federal treasury that goes towards Indigenous spending is critically important to actually complete these kinds of projects.
When will you
I appreciate the question.
When will you fund the mold removal so that the 25,000 residents of Six Nations do not have adequate medical services? That is an absolute disgrace, and it's on your shoulders, Minister. When are you going to clean up the mold?
Well, I really look forward to the letter that you'll write in support of my next budget ask that will ensure that Indigenous Services Canada has a significant investment in closing infrastructure gaps so that we more quickly can build the infrastructure across the country that I hear you agreeing we need to do quickly.
Thank you. That is the time, I'm afraid.